The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Game 1 at MSG. Knicks and the Pistons. And Detroit was up 91-83 after 3, but then the Knicks poured it on in the fourth quarter. How about campaign? 11 fourth quarter points. Finished with 14. And Jalen Brunson, despite appearing to re-injure that right ankle in the third quarter, came back 12 points in the fourth quarter, finished the game with 34, and the Knicks win game 1, 123-112. Great to have you with us, Bill Pidto, along with Wally Szczerbiak. We are here for the next hour to break it down for you. And you always talk about the difference between playoff basketball and regular season basketball. And then there's a fourth quarter of playoff basketball compared to all the rest. And the Knicks experience really the difference as the Knicks dominated the final 12 minutes.
Yeah, you could see it. That building was on fire. The crowd helped the Knicks win this game. Once the momentum swung with that building, how loud it was, the Detroit Pistons, they completely fell apart. And in the pregame press conference, J.B. Bickerstaff downplayed the experience a little bit. He said experience is how quickly you learn. That team has a lot to learn from in that fourth quarter. We'll see how they bounce back. But what a performance by campaign. There's always someone at home off the bench that you don't really prepare for as a team sometimes on the road, because this Detroit Pistons team played a really good basketball game for about 38 minutes. But then when Campaign hit them with those threes and went 4 for 4 in that fourth quarter, that's when the momentum switched. That's when the game flipped. And that was a good message to send for the Knicks.
Pistons had 21 turnovers in the game, 8 of those turnovers in the fourth quarter, and 8 of those turnovers in the fourth quarter went the Knicks' way for 11 points. And the Knicks in this fourth quarter, a 21-0 run. That's the best run they've had all year long, Wally. 21-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it's a good time to have it. It really is. In a monumental game 1 of a playoff series against a team that came to play, and they came to fight. How good was Karl Anthony Towns in that fourth quarter, too? Cameron Payne has done this all season long. I mean, this is what he does. Big moments he thrives in. We saw him last year again in Philadelphia make big shots against the Knicks. This step back was huge, and he just feeds off the moment and the magnitude of these games. You have to play and rise your game to a level that you don't even expect as a human being that you're capable of in these playoffs. And that's what this Knicks team did in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart just getting easy buckets all fourth quarter long. And when this Knicks team plays the defense that they're capable of, which they did in this fourth quarter, which they didn't do too often in the regular season, you saw playoff Knicks D in this fourth quarter. Watch out, because they go to a different level.
Look at the points off the turnovers I mentioned. That's key, 25 points. Knicks lost the third quarter, 36-26, won the fourth quarter, 40-21. And Cade Cunningham was held in check. Such a big story pregame. Only shot 8 of 21, finished with 21 points, but really added to the point total when the issue was already decided. They did a phenomenal job. OG Anunoby in particular did a phenomenal job on Cade Cunningham. Was it just Anunoby or was it the entire team?
It's a whole team effort. It starts with Anunoby. The intensity that he played on the point of attack against Cunningham, I kind of felt bad for Cade at times because that defense was locked in and they had a game plan to completely suffocate him. Having said that, he's really good. He makes good decisions off the pick and rolls. He was finding his guys, his shooters. When the Knicks made a mistake, they made the Knicks pay every single time. Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. in the first half, Tobias Harris, those guys were ready to play in this game. And it took a heroic fourth quarter effort by the Knicks to pull this one off. This looks like it's going to be an intense series. It's going to be a fun series. Knicks took care of business at home. This next second game, Detroit's going to be ready, and they're going to try to steal home court.
We gave everyone the stat of the night in the pregame.
I like it.
In the NBA playoffs in a best-of-7 series, the team that wins game 1 wins the series 75.2% of the time. That's how important tonight's outcome was.
You could see it. You could see the way the Knicks played. They played every single possession in that fourth quarter like they needed this game to the max. And even though it's a 7-game series and you can always say it's only one game, you have to set the tone. That was my key to this game, key to this series. Set the tone. And the Knicks set the tone and sent a message in that fourth quarter with a dominant performance.
All right, let's look at campaign. the Energizer Bunny. Sometimes really good, sometimes not as good. He was electric tonight, and you could say he made all the difference in the world with 11 points in that fourth quarter. Really the key to that 21-0 run.
That's why Tom Thibodeau trusts veterans. Cameron Payne has been in big moments his whole entire career. He came into this game ready to play, didn't get into the game until the start of the second quarter. First time he touched the ball, he drilled a three. You know, he knocked down shots from everywhere in that fourth quarter. Deuce McBride struggled in this one. Landry Shamet struggled in this one. That doesn't mean they might not play better in game two and the rest of this series. But when you see a teammate struggle, Cameron Payne had to step up. He stepped up. When he got his opportunity, he delivered for his coach, he delivered for his locker room, he delivered for his guys. And that's what a team does. That was a big moment for him. That was a big heart that he showed out there on this floor. And he's done it all season long. He loves playing in this arena. He wants to win a championship. That's why he came to this team. And he's going to really bring big moments for this team, I think, the rest of the way.
So Jalen Brunson tonight starts 4 of 15, but finishes 12 for 27. And he and Payne were the keys in that fourth quarter. Yeah. Brunson took over again when it mattered most. Captain clutch again.
Yeah, and when the Knicks get stops, the offense just flows so much more when they don't have to go up against a set defense. Detroit was scrambling all over the place in transition. They couldn't find anyone to guard. They were ball watching. Cade Cunningham was like, wait a second, there's Josh Hart. He's getting another layup. It just comes so easy when the Knicks play that level on the defensive end of the floor. And this is what Tom Thibodeau has been imploring them to do all season long. I thought they were going to turn it up in the playoffs because I knew they had the capability, and they really showed how good they can be when they play at that level defensively.
All right, now we say hello to Monica McNutt, helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, the Knicks defense in that fourth quarter was absolutely stifling.
What a swing. I mean, what a turn of momentum. And we actually had a chance to talk with Cam Payne in our radio post-game interview, and we asked him, what did you say, or did your actions just do all the talking? He's like, absolutely, my actions did most of the talking, but I did tell my team we have to get energized. We need to get this crowd back into it. Let's stay together. And that's exactly what happened, you guys. I don't know about y'all watching that third quarter, but for a second there, I questioned whether or not this young, spry, hungry Pistons squad, who clearly is together as a unit to pull off of a historic turnaround, was about to out together the Knicks, because they looked disjointed toward the end of the third quarter, but they found their way in the first quarter and got back to who we've known this team to be this year.
I'm with you, Monica. This Pistons team, they were together. They were prepared. That coaching staff had them ready to pull off a big-time steal of Game 1. What are you expecting in this second game on Monday? Less than 48 hours away. I can't wait.
Well, more physicality, but I would imagine, to your point, Wally, that J.B. Bickerstaff and his staff would probably say, look, you guys played physical and you still shot more free throws. You still had your opportunity in the fast break, but there's still room for you to be even smarter. I think when Duren and Thompson picked up their third fouls early in the ballgame, it disrupted the rhythm. Of course, all of the turnovers by Duren picking up those 3-second violations, some of those are just silly mistakes. And I loved what J.B. Bickerstaff said pregame in terms of experience comes as quickly as you learn. So if this group can learn from this game, I expect Game 2 to be a similarly tightly contested matchup. On the other hand, though, for the Knicks, I think if they can find Karl-Anthony Towns earlier, then it might take some pressure off, because he ultimately finished with a terrific game, but he had a very quiet, a donut, in fact, in that first quarter.
All right, Monica, we'll see you on Monday night.
Sounds good.
If you're Detroit, Wally, are you emboldened by what happened, or are you shook by what happened tonight?
You're shook. But you have hope that you can play with this team. Every game takes a different tone in the playoffs, and that's why it's just so important to just get the win any way, shape, or form you can get it. This Pistons team dominated the game for 38 minutes. They really did. The last 8 minutes, the Knicks took over, and they completely sent a message to this Pistons team that when the Knicks want to play at a certain level, the Pistons can't get to that level. Now it's up to the Knicks to play at that level to start Game 2 and not wait till the fourth quarter.
9:16 to go. Detroit was up by 8.
Yep.
Lights out.
Yeah.
Lights out. 21-0
Panic
run.
Pidto was in
No,
fact.
no, I was completely composed. Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments coming up. Knicks lead the series 1-0.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Knicks win Game 1 over the Pistons, outscoring Detroit in the fourth quarter 40-21. Back now from the Corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So the Knicks will be home again for Game 2, but they'll be on the road for Games 3 and 4. Both of those games will be in Detroit. Post-game comments now from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, as always, presented by Chase.
I thought our defense got us going. We got some stops. We got into the open floor. We got some easy scoring opportunities.
You talked about how to make team effort to guard Kate. I felt like OG and Mitch did very well. Cat getting up, he had some deflections. I guess how did you think about just the team defense and disrupting him?
Yeah, and that's the challenge. And and we have to take a look at the film. Now, obviously, there's things that we're going to have to do a lot better. It's one win, and then we got to reset and get ready for the next one. So. Understand what goes into it, and there's a lot of things that we can do better.
What you saw from Jalen, started off struggling offensively, finishes with 34.
He had timely baskets, big baskets. I thought Cam gave us a huge lift in the fourth quarter there. I thought our offense was really good in the fourth, and our defense was really good, and that's what we need. We have to do it for 48 minutes.
What did you see from Cam that was working so
Just the energy, and 2 point guards together injected some speed to the game.
What does it say about a guy like him coming off the bench and being able to inject that? And he's coming in down 8.
Yeah, he's a great energy guy, and every day he's the same. So it's high energy every day, and sometimes you could be flat in the game, and he's a catalyst. He gets in there, he makes things happen. So it's very good.
How about the resolve from your team tonight, Tibbs, when things were looking good in the fourth quarter, then all of a sudden the switch flips and it's 21-0?
Yeah, no, you got to win games different ways. Obviously, you prefer not to be down 8 points, but that's what the situation was, and then just find a way to win.
What do you see from OG guarding Cade? How tough did he make it on Cade?
Cade is a great player, and he's a tough matchup. And the thing I love about OG is he competes on every play. So sometimes he can defend them perfectly, and he has the ability to make a shot, but that doesn't deter him from coming back the next time and doing it again. And so you're trying to make him work as hard as you can. And OG's a great competitor, so he's given our team a lot.
How do you think that Cat operated with Harris running over 11 night?
Good, Cat can score a million different ways. So he got into the post, and he could beat you off the dribble. So just use your skills, and then let the game tell you what you should do. So when the second defender comes, make the play. He had some isolation from the elbow as well, which was good for him.
We've seen Cam go off in terms of hot scoring streaks during the regular season, just for him to do it in the playoffs and the pressure. Just what you see from him tonight.
Yeah, the thing about him is he knows exactly who he is. He comes in with great energy every game. He prepares himself well each and every day. And so he gave us a huge spark, but that's been who he is. So play to your strengths, cover up your weaknesses, and he's done a great job with that. Yeah, and he's sort of a guy that you got to pay attention to. So, he hit the three right at the end of the half, and he got in the post a little bit, and we transition, and you got to pay attention. And so, some of it is rotation, and we got to recognize if a guy gets going, that we have to be there. We have to be there on the catch. You can't give a guy like that. He's been a good scorer in the league for a long time. And so we have to do a better job with him.
Tom, when Jalen went to the locker room and came back, it was like a new man. Did he change his sneakers or something? Do you know why he went back there? I mean, he came back. He was a totally different guy.
I think he grabbed his cape.
We come to work.
Tom, you went Sherman with the first sub with Josh Hart in foul trouble. Was that the plan all along? Or was that?
No, yeah, well, some of it's matchups, and so, the early foul trouble was, problematic because McHale was in foul trouble as well. And so, we need a little more size. And then, I thought Deuce gave us good minutes too. The speed with Deuce was good. So that's basically, how it unfolded.
Tom, the way you guys turned the fourth quarter kind of into a track meet defensively, turning defense into offense, when you were completely whole and healthy, is that kind of the way you envision the defense kind of being able to impact the game? Yeah,
well, we want to be strong on both sides of the ball, and they're very athletic, and again, they have some of the same things that we do in the sense that when they're playing Cunningham and they have Schroeder in there, so you got two guys that can go off the dribble, and then, Beasley catch and shoot, and Hardaway as well. And then, the Thompson and Holland are very athletic runners and, slashers, and they can hurt you as well. But then if the penetration is getting you, then it could lead to the second shots, and you're concerned about that as well.
Tom, what'd you think of
Last one, guys.
What'd you think of Mitch tonight, especially Mitch with Carl there in the first half?
Yeah, the size I think is good. I thought Mitch during that stretch made some really good defensive plays in the fourth too. The steal that he had was the game was pretty tight then. That was a big play, and you make plays like that. I think that helps inspire the team. It unites the team. Those are great hustle plays. So defensively, I think he was very good.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Second quarter, Mitchell Robinson with Karl Anthony Towns was an excellent 1-2 punch. Really helped the Knicks before halftime.
I love that lineup. I think we're going to see that lineup more in this series. Karl Anthony Towns, very comfortable playing the four. He did it his whole career with Minnesota. When you put those two guys out there on the floor, you can go with Bridges into Anunoby and Brunson, and you are tall at every position. In the playoffs, I think that's very important. I think that was a lineup that might have happened in the fourth quarter if Cameron Payne didn't come in and just completely change the game. Tom Thibodeau, as a result, he went with the 2 point guard lineup with Brunson and Cam Payne, and that worked out perfectly. But there are a couple tweaks in the lineups that I think Tom Thibodeau is going to keep an eye on, because there are sudden lineups, especially the starting lineup, which wasn't very successful in tonight's game.
By the way, Towns 10 out of 14. Efficient 23 points. Making
Men
impossible
amongst
shots.
Boys. Men amongst boys. You could see he was just dominating that game.
All right, when we come back, reaction from the Pistons coach, J.B. Bickerstaff. His Pistons fall apart in the fourth quarter. Knicks win game one, 123-112. Back with more after this. Welcome back. Knicks go on a season-best 21-0 run in the fourth quarter, largely because the Pistons committed 8 fourth-quarter turnovers. Here's Detroit coach J.B. Bickerstaff coming up after we tell you about the Pistons and the Knicks. Game 2, pregame at 7, game at 7:30. And remember, we have pre- and post-game coverage for every playoff game the Knicks will play here in round 1 and also in round 2. J.B. Bickerstaff now on his team's fourth-quarter mistakes.
Again, our execution failed us, I think. You have 8 turnovers in a quarter. It's going to be hard to overcome. But I thought our guys did a lot of really good things to put themselves in position in that fourth quarter. But, again, you got to close it. And it's a great experience for us to understand, how important each and every possession is and how that heightens in the fourth quarter. Right? You can't have empty possessions in the fourth quarter. You got to do the job, make sure you're getting shots on goal, when it's time to close. But, again, all in all, I thought we did a lot of really good things. Great to get the stuff on tape, and we can go out and learn from it and be better the next time.
How much did it hurt not having Isaiah Stewart available for the final 9 minutes?
It's tough. He means so much to us, and there's so many things that he can do. But at some point, my choice was to protect him. And I just thought that was the right decision to make.
Coach, going into this game, there was a lot made about the veterans on your team, Tobias, Tim Hardaway, Malik. What did you think of their performance, especially Hardaway, Tim Hardaway, Tobias Harris set the tone?
Again, that's why those guys are here, and that's why they are who they are. We've been able to depend on those guys, lean on those guys, trust in those guys, this entire season. And that was no different tonight. At some point in time, I thought all of them made huge plays for us to help carry us through stretches. Again, we're grateful to have those guys because of what they mean to us.
You know, when you talk about what happened in the fourth quarter, the Pistons are up after 3, 91-83. First possession, 5-second violation. Can't get the ball in. Next time Detroit had the ball, another turnover. And that turned the tide. That started the avalanche the other way.
Yeah, and you could see the Knicks could kind of smell the fear in the Detroit Pistons, not having been in a moment of that magnitude. And once they started to see that, they just pounced and they trounced on them. The aggressiveness they played with defensively, Karl Anthony Towns just attacking, getting all those steals, blocks. And then when the building started to get loud, that building is tough to overcome. That's why I said home court advantage is so important in the playoffs. When you have a building that starts to get loud like that, you can't communicate. If you're a road team, you can't get the calls in. Like, it's just a really tough situation. And there's Karl Anthony Towns, nobody giving up on plays. You know, the Pistons got sloppy, and the Knicks, look at they're just attacking and attacking. Long arms all over the place. Cade Cunningham has his hands full in this series because the scouting report is to completely shut him down and make him deal with double teams the whole entire 48 minutes.
See, Anunoby can pick him up over the timeline. Right when Cunningham gets over half court, Anunoby can shut him down.
That's what you have to do. And it's not just passive double teams. These are attacking, aggressive double teams looking to steal the ball, looking to get deflections, and looking to turn it into quick points on the other end. I thought Cunningham, despite the fact shooting 8 for 21, I thought he really played a good basketball game overall. I think he's a very cerebral player. He's going to learn from watching this film, and he did a good job getting 12 assists also finding his teammates.
Only 1 of 4 from downtown, and you mentioned only 8 of 21 from the floor. Josh Hart picked things up in the fourth quarter, had first half foul trouble, but ended up with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. His postgame reaction is coming up after this. The Knicks win game 1. The Knicks blocked 9 shots, and they recorded 12 steals. Postgame reaction now from Josh Hart.
Yeah, defensively, up at the level of the screen. Got a couple strips, got us easy baskets. So he was huge. He was huge on both ends.
How about the defense on Cade Cunningham in this game? Was there a game plan, obvious game plan? And
yeah, OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby, man. He's a hell of a player. Defensively, we have faith in him to guard anybody. So obviously we're all locked in and dialed into him. He's a good player. But OG loves those kind of matchups, especially in the playoffs where you can be physical. He's a physical guy, able to get through screens and those kind of things. So we need his offense, obviously, but more importantly, his defense, every game.
The way you guys turned the fourth quarter pretty much into a track meet. I mean, turning defense into offense, is that what you guys always envisioned the potential of this team to be on that end of the floor?
Yeah. There's, especially, when we have, Cam in and, myself, we're 2 guys that want to just run. Yeah. And, when you get stops, obviously you get easy baskets. And I think we got, 4 or 5 just easy, fast break, uncontested layups just because our defensive activity was that good and that high. So we know that. So we got to make sure we watch film and figure out where we can be better, the first 3 quarters. And, like I said, be ready for Monday.
Look at these defensive numbers. They just pop off the page. Anunoby had 5 steals. Yeah. Towns tied a guy with 4 steals.
Yeah. Active hands. This team raised their defensive intensity level like I thought they would. In order to win in the playoffs, that's exactly what you have to do. They have guys that just wouldn't let themselves lose. In this first game, after such a long time off preparing, the first couple quarters, they were a little bit of a chess match. You could see the coaches trying to figure out what matchups they liked, what lineups they liked. And then in the fourth quarter, it was just like, we got to figure this thing out and find a way to defend home court. And it took a heroic effort by Cameron Payne to flip this game completely. And now I'm really excited to see the adjustments the coaches make into game 2 and along the way, the rest of the series. There are a lot of things that I think the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau can learn from this game moving forward to make sure you're not down 8 going into the fourth quarter.
Anunoby, by the way, had 23 points in addition to the great defense. 19 of those points came in the first half. Here's Anunoby now at the postgame podium.
OG, can you talk about defending Cade. What was that assignment like, and what are some of the things that you did to make it a successful assignment?
Just try to make it as difficult as possible, make his catches difficult, pressure him, be aggressive, and just try to force him to tough shots.
OG, could you talk about that fourth quarter? How important is it to get contributions from a high-energy guy like Cam when things seem stagnant, especially in a playoff game?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, we all know Cam's capable. He's a great player. This is what he does. So no one's surprised, but we definitely needed it for sure.
OG, you've talked a ton about just guarding any player in this league. It takes a team effort. Just seeing Cat get higher up in the hedge. Mitch, I think, made Cade going left a little bit difficult. Just how do you think you guys defended as a group tonight in terms of execution with how you guarded him and then the other players on the roster?
I thought we did a good job. You can't take away everything. So some guys made some shots, and we'll look at the film and try to fix some of that stuff up. But I thought we did a good job. Cat was big time. Mitch was big time. I think everyone was just flying around. Josh, Mikhail. It was a great team effort.
OG, how about the effort from your captain tonight, who early in this game looked like he was playing on one leg and then all of a sudden ended up with a game-high 34 points?
Jalen's a great player, so not surprised by it at all. That's what he does.
What were the conversations like at the end of the third quarter when you were a little bit behind?
Oh, just stay with it, continue to play the way we play, force them into tough shots, and then run out transition. And just play the way we play.
Kind of piggybacking off that question, it was such a weird play to kind of see a team have a 5-second violation to start a fourth quarter. Was that, I imagine that was part of the conversation too, of let's change something up here just to throw them off base?
Cam came out, denied the ball, the man, made it difficult, and then we got a 5-second violation, and the momentum carried over. So that was big time out of Cam.
And Detroit began the fourth quarter, as we talked about, with a 5-second violation. So just to put Cunningham's night in perspective, last two games against the Knicks, Wally, 36 points, held to 21 tonight, largely because of the D by OG.
Game before, a 29-point triple-double. And that guy's going to be good. And it took a really intense effort by OG Anunoby and the whole entire team. And I love what Anunoby said. The most important thing you can do is try to deny him the ball. Keep the ball out of a star player's hands. That makes your job so much easier defensively when you don't have to deal with them using all those screens.
But he has the ball coming over the timeline, though.
That's true, with no question. So that's harder to defend a point guard. That's why a point guard is such an important position on the floor. But when he gives it up, you got to deny him, not let him get the ball back, because dealing with him in pick and roll is not easy. Sets up those pick and rolls perfectly. You got to help a little bit and give a quick double team to get the ball out of his hands, and then you're playing down a man on a power play on the back end of the floor with good shooters on that back side. So the Knicks defensively, they have to keep that intensity level up no matter what the coverage is. You have to do it at max effort. That's what Tom Thibodeau has been imploring all season long. Trust the coverages, do it at max effort, and then they will work. That's exactly what the Knicks did in the fourth quarter.
Cherishing tonight, that is for sure. Most fourth quarter points in the playoffs by a bench player since 96-97. Cam right there with 11 behind Alec Burks and J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith on there a lot, and we've talked about it. Cam Payne's got a lot of experience. He was on the Suns team that made the NBA Finals. He was on the Sixers team last year that lost to the Knicks, had a couple of big moments for the Sixers. But this is a guy who's got the energy, and tonight that energy was a huge positive for the Knicks.
I've had faith in him all season long. Getting him into that locker room, he's just the kind of guy you want. And when your back's against the wall, you're down 8 going into a big fourth quarter of a game 1. He's the guy I want coming off the bench to change the momentum. He's done it his whole entire career. He did it during the regular season. He had some huge moments for this team. I talked about how efficient he was when he got minutes all season long. His player efficiency was one of the top 5 on this Knicks team all season long. And Tom Thibodeau trusted him in a major moment, and he came through big time. He was the key to this game, and he did his job tonight. And it might be someone else's job in the game too. Everyone's got to stay ready. That's the key in the playoffs. You got to be ready because every game starts at 0. It's a completely different game. They take different twists and turns. The next game, it could be Deuce McBride. It could be Landry Shamet. It could be Mitchell Robinson. It could be Mikal Bridges. Wasn't their night maybe tonight, but it can be their night on Monday night.
Another key here for the Knicks. Tobias Harris had 22 points in the first half. only had 3 the rest of the game. That was key. Harris, of course, was on the Sixers last year, had a huge first half, but shut down in the second half. Here he is now at the postgame podium.
It's a tough loss, but that's what the playoffs is about. It's about making adjustments and being ready for the next night.
What's the lesson you learned from that fourth quarter?
I would just say how much the little things add up, right? You could look at the offensive boards, 50-50 balls out there, the turnovers that hurt us as well. So for us, every game is a learning experience as well. But those are a few things that we can take. Defensively, gave up too many threes for them. Let certain guys get hot out there that can hurt you. And we just got to do better with our overall execution on the defensive end, especially in that fourth, giving up 40 points. That's way too many points in a playoff game.
I was going to ask about that, just the fourth quarter, just kind of what got going early that made that run tough.
I just thought the turnovers led to easy baskets for them, right? Like, you could look at that last, 4 minutes, like, too many fast break layups for them. But then, certain guys got in there, got hot, and got hot from making threes as well. That hurt us.
So Harris had 3 points in the second half, and Tim Hardaway Jr. had a huge third quarter, didn't score in the fourth quarter. And those are the 2 veterans that have been really important. Were really important to Detroit taking that 8-point lead after 3 quarters of play, but neither did much in the fourth quarter at all.
No, and that was a circumstantial thing where the Knicks' defense suffocated Cade Cunningham, and they're dependent on Cade Cunningham breaking down the defense, finding them for open shots. The 3 experienced guys who I look at experience with Detroit played great tonight. Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley. Those 3 guys have been in big games their whole entire career, and they brought it tonight in a huge game. So the Knicks are going to have to expect the same from those 3 guys and expect that some of the young guys on Detroit, they're going to learn from the mistakes they made, and they're going to continue to gain confidence throughout the course of this series. So Knicks are going to have to be ready for that moving forward.
Were the turnovers Detroit's fault or caused by the Knicks? Or a combination?
It's a combination of both. The aggressiveness was just completely flipped by the Knicks. The more aggressive team is going to get rewarded. The Knicks on those screen and rolls up high, they just completely suffocated Cade Cunningham, and he wasn't ready for that type of aggression that the Knicks were double teaming him with, because they didn't really do it with that aggression the whole entire game. In the fourth quarter, that's why you save your fouls. That's why you don't get yourself into foul trouble. You can play aggressively and you can attack and play more physical. And I thought from the jump that this game was officiated perfectly. The officials were letting these guys really take it up a notch into playoff mode and playoff physicality. I love the way it was officiated. It took a little bit of time for the Knicks to adjust, but in the fourth quarter, they saw that we can let it all hang out defensively in that fourth quarter, and I think that's the main reason why a lot of those turnovers happened.
If you were Cade Cunningham, what would you do differently in Game 2?
Well, I would watch the film, and I wouldn't do anything differently, honestly.
Because Anunoby really keeps him in check.
Yes, and Cade Cunningham, for the most part, the whole entire game, he read the defense perfectly, and that's what makes him so great. He's a great decision maker, and he saw that he is an elite defender on him. He's getting help every time he comes off a screen from a big guy that's coming after him, and there are 2 guys on the ball. And what does Tom Thibodeau always talk about Jalen Brunson when he has 2 guys on the ball and double teaming him? Get off the ball, pass the ball to your teammates, trust your teammates to make a play. I thought in that fourth quarter, Cade Cunningham, he just didn't get rid of the ball quick enough, and he allowed that double team to really bother him and force deflections and turnovers.
Dominant fourth quarter for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, we're going to get his post-game reaction. He had 12 of his 34 in the fourth quarter. Didn't start off well, but finished strong. And the Knicks win Game 1, 123-112. Welcome back. Knicks win Game 1, 123-112. Now lead the series 1-0. They'll try to go up 2-0 on Monday night. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. We got pre- and post-game coverage throughout the playoffs right here on MSG. Jalen Brunson, 12 of his game-high 34 in the fourth quarter. Here he is now after the game.
Jalen, you go to the locker room. What were you getting treatment back there? Changing sneakers?
I was in the locker room.
Or where were you in the back?
In the locker room, just now on the bench.
Did you change sneakers or?
Did I come out with a different pair of shoes on?
Yes.
then yes, I changed sneakers.
Was that the key to your fourth quarter?
No. No, the key was campaign, the beginning of the violation to be in the fourth quarter, and the way we started the first couple of minutes. So that was the key. It's a credit to those guys.
Why did you change your sneakers?
I don't know.
How much was your ankle bothering? So it seemed like you were.
Feels great.
Jalen, did it take time for you to adjust to Detroit's defensive physicality, and how did you adjust?
Yeah, I feel like they had a great game plan, and I just had to reset, and I just found a way to get going in the second half. Teammates had the utmost confidence in me, and I appreciate that to the fullest. And so just had to find a way to reset and just regain composure.
Could you sense it starting to change that quickly in the fourth quarter when they had the violation and then the next possession, the shot clock violation, and it seemed like from there things really swung your way? Did you sense it that quickly?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't end the third quarter the way we wanted to, but there's never a doubt that we were going to just lay down and not fight. You know, we got to find a way to figure things out and just keep battling. And I mean, it turned rather quickly. It was a quick turnaround, and just happy with the way we played that fourth.
It turned quickly, but it also lasted pretty much. You guys went on a 20-something-0 run, turned it into a track meet. Just what worked to be able to have those stops consistently for pretty much an entire period?
I think we're just connected in the way we were getting stops out there, and just find a way to get out in transition after getting ball. Yeah, just the way we played defensively then was key for us, especially in that fourth quarter.
Is that when you guys are at your best? When you turn defense into offense and then generate buckets, you think?
I mean, yeah, the easier the buckets, the better. You don't, against a team like that who's physical, and obviously they're going to, I mean, knowing Bickerstaff from afar and seeing the way his teams play, now they're going to be very physical and very connected on the defensive end. So whenever you're able to get out and transition and get easy layups and easy buckets, it's pretty key for a victory.
Was there an adjustment to how the game was being called, and did you have to change kind of how you thought about what was a foul?
Yeah, but it's just the playoffs, and there's always going to be adjustments, whether it's on that front, or the way teams are playing you, or the way you're playing as a team. Adjusting is a part of the game, and so we just found a way.
What do you think of OG defensively on Cade?
I mean, I think it was great the way OG played, and it's really tough to do that to a player like that, and so yeah, it's a lot of props to him, and it's just we stepped up for the challenge, and we're happy he did.
All right, so most playoff games for the Knicks in playoff history with at least 30 points. How about this, Wally? Jalen Brunson is now tied with Willis Reed for second most with 12 behind Patrick Ewing's 18. Always helps to have the right pair of shoes on, right, Wally?
Yeah, you got to find the right pair of shoes. I'm the wrong guy to talk about that. I'm a mess with my shoes, orthotics, just a mess. But Jalen, you got to find the right feel. You know, when you're a player, it might have been a pair of shoes that wasn't broken in enough, and he didn't feel like they were flexible enough with that ankle, and he's nursing that ankle injury. And sometimes with ankle injuries, you got to you put them through, a tough movement, maybe a little tweak or a little something, and then you realize, I think I'm going to be okay. And hopefully that's the case with Jalen, and this isn't something that lingers.
All right, how about game 2 now?
I can't wait. And I think it's great that we don't have to wait that long for it. If I had just played this game, I want to strap it up and get right back out there. From Detroit, I don't want to spend any more time in New York. I want to get back out there, try to steal game 2. And if you're the Knicks, you got to feed off what you did in that fourth quarter, but you got to make some adjustments because this Detroit team was primed to steal this game 1.
What's the most important adjustment you would make?
Just be ready to play early on with that intensity defensively to start the game.
Fourth quarter was the key. And we'll see you on Monday night, Game 2, Knicks and the Pistons. Pregame at 7, game at 7:30. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus now in the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.